Yeah.
But okay, so let's do it. Nick Mita, part 2, podcast Hawaii. We cannot start this without acknowledging Maui. That happened in between the last time we spoke and now, which is what, Monday. Yeah, so we spoke on Monday. We did our first part of this podcast on Monday. That was Wednesday, it was Tuesday night into Wednesday.
Yeah.
And now it's Friday. So Maui, if you go online, people who listen to this, if you go to the we just did a fundraiser. Like, it's Kako'o Maui, the Council for Native Hawaiian Affairs. They're matching up to $1 million, and this content's evergreen. So for now and for forever, we have first responder connects that are saying like body count is in the hundreds. I know the news right now at this point is saying 60 something. Body counts in the hundreds, and just traumatized screams of people trapped, kids. It's torture. It's horrible. It's horrific. And hopefully we can raise some money for Maui. So I'll go to the Council for Native Hawaiian Affairs. And, bro, thank you for like giving us some insurance knowledge.
Yeah.
File your loss of use claim.
Yeah.
Get some immediate money. And then I saw some stuff going around. People, I don't know if this is really an insurance thing, but they're saying like, don't apply to FEMA because then they like, record a lien on your property or something.
Oh, that's a mortgage question but I feel like
title question or something.
You know what, man? At this point, the situation is different than any other situation. You need to do what you got to do.
Yeah.
And you go file a claim, 100%. Yeah. Homeowner's claim. Does it cover it? I don't know. File it. Just find out.
And so you're with First Insurance?
No, so I'm an agent. So I work with dozens of carriers.
You broker to whoever.
So I represent them.
Yeah.
So like but I'm as an agent, which everybody should get an agent or somebody that, if you have State Farm, Geico, whatever, make sure you have that contact person.
Yeah, some contact person, right?
Somebody to look out for you. And they hold your hand the whole way because there's a lot of things that they might not know. The good thing that I've seen that the insurance companies are doing is they know the dire need for money that these guys are having. So looking at their policy, they go ahead and try to send them money from the beginning, knowing that they're going to need it.
Yeah.
And then as much as their policy allows.
And you said generally, policy by policy, of course, you're not giving generalized advice, but usually fire is covered. Like most plans that anyone has, fire should be covered.
Yes, should be covered.
Bro, you know one thing it's not the time yet to point fingers or anything, but in California, they're seasoned in fires. It happens every year, multiple times, multiple places. So the power company is like told or asked or should, they have protocols to assess whether they should turn the power off because the power lines blow down, transformers and lines spark, and then that's the fire, and then it runs wild. And the big Paradise is a town called Paradise that just got incinerated at a speed like this.
Holy smokes.
And it's very similar to this event. And I have a story about it where this guy saved his family. He made a 3-hour drive on a motorcycle. He got there in 90 minutes. And he's a firefighter himself. Got there, got his family. They were hugging each other. His wife and daughter hugging each other in the truck, in a parking lot to try and, get away from brush, like in the middle of a parking lot. First responders tell him, stop. He just, F you, bursts through the firewall, like goes through fire on a motorcycle, throws his bike down, jumps in the truck, gas tank on E, breaks back through the firewall. And he's a firefighter, right? He's like, one more minute and my family's dead if I didn't get there within a minute. And he drove halfway across the state of California.
Yeah.
Longitudinally.
How did he get him out of the truck from out of the fire?
He from the perimeter outside. He
started the truck on E.
Yeah, it was like gaslight had been on since he was in the Bluetooth talking to him for like long time. Like gaslight's on. Oh, we're running out of gas. We're scared. It's getting hot. Like fire's all around us. He burst through.
Oh my gosh!
For, like everyone telling him stop.
Yeah.
It's too late. You can't. He burst through, grabs him, puts the truck in drive, gets out like probably at less than a gallon, whatever the light was, the empty light, and saved them.
That's heavy.
And when he tells the full story, the way it all happened, it's even heavier. Like
all tears.
And that's essentially what's happening in Lahaina, except for I think less people got out. And you got to figure mainland houses are not made out of wood the same way old Hawaii plantation buildings are, right? We're like a bonfire, you know? And so anyways, the point I was making is I hope that they didn't have a meeting and talk about whether or not the power should go out. Like they should turn off the power. And the power company said, no, we're not going to, because they're losing revenue, right? That's what Pacific Gas and Electric in California has gotten sued. And it's like, you should have turned the power out, and found to be negligent.
So do you think this is what I learned yesterday? I learned, from what I heard it was a roof flew off, hit a power line, and it hit the brush. Now we're in...
So the power should be off.
But we're in July and August right now. And it's probably so dry over there. It's ridiculous, right?
Yeah,
and
that's West Side, right?
And, yep. And like you said, we're dealing with homes that are built in the 50s. So they're over 50 years old. No, they might be built in the 1900s.
Yeah, I get 1910, 20 homes probably.
It's very, so they're very old homes made of wood that is just... They're igniters, just, they'll just, so then what I heard, it starts from, wildfires start from anything. It can be a can, somebody's can on the side of the road that the sun like hits like a magnifying glass, that hits a brush that's so dry, and the winds there is just a perfect formula to make a little fire, and that little fire just goes. So if they did stop the electricity, would that have even helped to not, if you had a little already ignited fire, would it even have stopped it? Or would it have been more devastating to where now people can't get in touch with other people with phones?
That's a fair, who knows? That's right. So I'm like, I'm skeptical and I'm concerned.
That's good.
Because although I'm a capitalist and I like business, and I don't say I'm a capitalist, but like I tend to like capitalism and I like business and the free market and all that stuff. At the same time, try to look at this video. So for the people just watching, or for the people just listening, I'm showing Nick a video of these power lines halfway down and the wind blowing them right before the fire started.
Oh, wow.
But we don't know. To Nick's point, like anything could happen. Someone could have threw a cigarette out of the window and that sparked it. But in any case, and these power lines eventually went down. There's other videos. And so.
But what do you do? Like now, let's say they turn the power lines off.
Yeah.
And there's no fire. Okay.
Yeah.
And now you don't have Wi-Fi. Your phones maybe are dead. Maybe the data service or whatever, and maybe the towers also need power too, right?
Yeah.
And we turn those off and nobody has signal. And now buildings collapse on people and the ambulance has nowhere to go. They don't know where to go.
They're not turning the cell towers off.
Well, even if we didn't, they're
just turning the power. So you cannot use your stove. You cannot.
But you don't have lights. You don't have this. We don't have a microphone. And if your phone's dead, you can't call people.
So again, in California, their experience. Like you're from California. Did they have times where they're like, "Hey, we're gonna be turning the power off because it's gonna get windy, so charge things up"?
Yeah, and even we were so far removed from it,
but you'd still get those notices. Yeah, because he's from kind of like outer Sacramento, and it's a thing there. It's like hey guys, we're gonna have 70-mile-per-hour gusts.
Yeah.
We might be turning the power off. Like charge everything.
That's good. But they have experience doing that.
Hindsight's 20/20. But I'm just a guy who lived the mainland. Like I figure the power company and the lieutenant governors, whatever, they should have protocols. But it's not time to point fingers yet. The main thing is, and we'll figure that out. And if it was negligence, then I'm here to, for the fight too. But we shall see. But man, so tragic. Like. So bad. And so go to the Council for Native Hawaiian Affairs. We looked at multiple charities. On our other YouTube channel, we ran like a telethon. Our idea was like, you remember when we were young, on TV, they'd have like all the phones and they'd be like, Jason from Indiana just donated $100. Like we were trying to do that, but in a modern way, directing people to the Council for Native Hawaiian Affairs. And
that's awesome.
We went to Costco and bought four like carts that load up a big truck and took them down to the UFC gym, and
that's so awesome.
It felt good. you know, and it was like Nietzsche or somebody said there's no selfless act. Like, it felt really good. It felt like we felt helpless, so it felt good, and we're gonna do more. We have some families that they didn't own, they're low income, have nothing, and everything's burnt down, and so we have a couple of families we're gonna help. And I guess if someone hears this, if you know someone coming from Maui and they need a place to stay, as an agent, I have 1 or 2 places. I'm like, I want to find, you know, I have a 1-bedroom in Mililani that I'm hoping to get someone in. So if you know someone
I'll try
who wants to come Oahu, like, I have this guy I know has a 1-bedroom that just sits, and I know it needs a cleaning. So I'll pay for the cleaning. I'll get him like a bed and a couch or something, and we'll see.
Let's get him over here.
Yeah.
It's pretty nuts. But it's devastating. I talked to I have a client. I have a few clients that this happened, like their house is gone. I have a client that literally just bought one right off Front Street and it's gone.
Really?
And I just was on the phone with them and they were talking about going back to, and this is every story. They just got to go to the house today. Yeah. So they got to go and look at their house, and you got to think like
their lot,
the kids, everybody. Thank God everybody's alive.
How did they get out?
They must have.
Were they early?
Yeah. You must have been. You know, and I heard something that if you were on foot, you're done. You couldn't outrun this thing unless you jumped in the water.
Did you see the video of the guys that saw the body and the guys like, Dad, you cannot do nothing for her?
So I was talking with a lot of people about that, and they were like, why weren't they did jump out of the car and this and that?
Easy to say.
It's so
easy to Monday morning
easy to
quarterback
say when
that.
You're in an air conditioned office looking at that.
They were in a pizza oven.
Bruh, you're that's when you have, that's a true fight or flight, when you're like, they didn't know if they went out they would die.
Yeah, you open, because if you like look at the longer version of that video, you hear him going, it's getting hot in here. Yeah, it's getting hot in here. Yeah, and then, oh shit, there's a body, and so. Who are they already sweating? Or is the handle already hot to touch? Like, we don't know these things. And then a body outside, like, you're going to ensure the death of 3 people for someone who's probably like, we can't even comment. Instead
of being angry, we should have sorrow for the situation, for those guys and for the person that passed away. They're pointing fingers is easy. It's so easy to throw rocks. But if you put yourself in the other person's shoes, can you imagine the trauma that those 3 guys are gonna go for the rest of their life?
Maybe their children,
or like hopefully their children,
like they're trying to get to their children. Maybe that's a single dad and his 2 kids are at the auntie's house in Kihei. Like, if I'm gone, you just don't know.
You don't know, bro. It's just it's not a time to get mad at people.
No, that's so ridiculous. Please don't. Yeah. So if anyone's listening to this, please don't do that.
Show your aloha and just.
That's one of the beautiful thing. The way. You know, like I said, I live California and there's been some disasters and stuff, but it's not like, Steve is like, it's just a different feel here. The community feel is different.
Come together. This is probably the only place in the world that I feel that. Maybe Australia, but even in
Japan, huh?
So I went to Japan how many times, but it's not in their culture for a lot of, it's in the Hawaiian culture that if somebody falls down and their shirt fell off, that we take the shirt off our back and give it to them. That's just how we're brought up. Yeah. In Japan, I remember the first time I went there, this old guy fell down and the guys just walk around them at the train station.
Is that Tokyo?
Yeah.
Would it be the same way in a different place?
So I don't know.
Because that's like New York, right?
It is. But I don't know. That's a good point.
But they're like super respectful Japanese. Like, they're not going to step on him, but they're also just going to walk around.
They go around, but they're not. I don't know if they're brought up to take the shirt off their back for somebody they don't know. You know what? It's Tokyo. Almost like it was one instance that I had in my life. So
you know the overall vibes. So.
I feel like they would, give you their house and go sleep be homeless for a little while to help you out.
In Japan?
Yes. Same as over here, I feel.
But it's like a very nuanced thing in Japan, right? Like, they probably don't want to patronize you.
That's another thing.
Right.
They don't want to take. So in Japan, there's a lot of
your honor.
Yeah, there's a lot of pride. Yeah. There's still a lot of samurai pride, and you don't want to disrespect somebody by helping them up. Maybe that's a good point. So Japan, yes, one of them.
It's unique.
Australia, I feel like they're the same. Even when I went to Bali, I feel like they're the same. The local guys, to friends and family, you know, like I remember in Bali, like some foreign guy was making trouble, and I turn around and there's like 100 guys with machete. Machetes are in Bali are like an extension of their hand because they work a lot in the fields, depending on where you go, right? I go to the surf spots. There's a lot of rice fields. And so there's all these guys. I was like, whoa, bro, where'd all these guys? These are all my friends. Like they knew in Bali, we're not big guys, you know? We fight like it's not one-on-one, brother.
Like Filipino.
Yeah. Especially when the foreign guy has a knife, like we calling all our village friends, you know? And it's like, but it's everybody, all hands on deck. Somebody needs help, we drop everything and help out.
Yeah.
That's the awesome thing.
Isn't that a beautiful thing about, you know, I have like I want to build wealth, and I don't need to live in the most white collar place. In fact, I don't want to. I want to be happy, right? But then I feel it hard to like retain that thing in like Waianae or Waimanalo, where like everyone, you know, like my neighbor don't know where their next meal is coming from or how they're gonna be at the end of this pay period, but they're barbecuing and they're making me on plate.
Yeah.
Like you may not get that on the avenue in Kahala.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And I want to be able to have wealth to the extent that I can have some experiences and support my dad at the end of life, and just like use wealth for more important things than Rolexes and stuff. But it's like the more my mind's shifted towards that wealth building, success, growth, it's like, frick, sometimes I just like want to go to like a concert and have Auntie make me on plate too, you know?
Yeah, bro.
I think our family does a good job of that, like at, you know, the people who kind of catalyze, and, you know, even your house on Christmas or, you know, Shima's house every time. But
I feel that's one of the reasons why I married Corey. I remember her family just is amazing, you know, like that's family. Like they'll inconvenience themselves to help somebody else. And I want my kids to be around that.
Yeah.
I want to be around that.
Yeah.
And I think like Corey's family is amazing. Shout out to Coach and
shout out to Coach
and Mom.
What
and
is
Bryce
Coach's
and
even
Aaron.
Actual name?
Glenn Tamayoshi.
Glenn Tamayoshi. He was, everyone called him Coach. He's he was a teacher at IAF sub, at the end of his career substituting, and then
IAF football coach.
If
if he had his funeral not during COVID, there would be thousands of people. Like he was a true angel on earth. Like he was amazing.
My knee-jerk reaction is to say we should redo it, but then also there's people who have gotten closure, right? So, yeah,
don't open the book again. It's
But Coach was, he couldn't go anywhere in IA without people.
Yeah.
Coach Tamayoshi, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's awesome.
And Adam. I said Bryce and Aaron and Adam.
And
too.
Adam.
Yeah.
Yeah. And Adam. Adam is so we have these mutual, like, Nick's brother-in-laws are my brother-in-laws. So we're like brother-in-laws.
Mm-hmm.
And it's such a fun family. Like, Aaron is nuts.
Our family's all nonstop laughs.
Bryce is like a rock. Like, yep, whatever you need, got you. I stay over here working every day. And then Adam's like more quiet and more he's like intellectual and different. But Adam too, it's like, it's not, he doesn't even make it known, but he's just always serving his family, right? Like when the girls go to college, he's like, oh yeah, I gotta plan a trip already. Go check on them.
It's automatic.
It's just automatic.
It's such an awesome family.
Yeah.
To be blessed with. So
shout outs to them.
Yeah.
Well, where did we leave off last time? What were we talking? We were talking about surfing, Japan. The tsunami happened, and you were transitioning out. How long were you and Corey married before the tsunami?
We got married the year before. The year before. Oh, I think you asked how I made the trend. I don't know why. Did you ask me that or text me that or something about like getting to how I got to the Japan tour from like the stage from I don't know.
Yeah. Well, I know we were talking about because and we could revisit this 1,000 times. And I love the conversation. Is like, you know, the skill development. Because on one hand, I was even thinking about it like today in the gym, I was like, freaking Nick, you think anybody can work towards being a pro surfer? No way. There's no way, bro. Like, I tried so hard. And then also, oh no, I was thinking about it yesterday at my son's basketball practice.
Yeah.
Because I was like, some of these kids are just better than the other kids.
At what, 8 years old? Bro, I'll argue with, I'll tell you something. So
Mike, you coach your son's sports too, yeah.
Mike is a collegiate soccer player. And I'm sure he had people tell him he can't make it. I guarantee it.
Yeah, that always. People told Michael Jordan he can't make it.
It's
LeBron.
It's the people that listen to that don't make it. So if you have a so this is what I've learned in my life. And I grew up small. We talked about it. I lost every game in baseball in high school. I grew up small. I was 5'2" when I graduated. No joke. Ask any of my classmates. That's why I go to the class reunions, because I see how much taller I am than everybody.
I saw you at your class reunion.
I was like, "What's up, guys?" Remember me? And so I know that there was, luckily, my parents ingrained something in me to say, like, show them. Don't tell them, show them, like, do it, don't give up. And when I see kids on our team and they tell me, like, oh yeah, like, or parents like, he's never going to make it to Major League. I said, why not? I said, in the Major League, there's a guy named Jose Altuve. Do you know who that is? So he's 5'7". Brada is small. He's 5'7". Now you're talking Shohei's 6'4". Aaron Judge is what, 6'5", 6'6", 250. Those guys are linebackers. They have perfect technique, but they don't need technique to hit the ball over the fence. Jose Altuve is 5'7", going against these guys. He plays for the Houston Astros. I don't like the Astros, but I love this story. And so cheaters, bro. I like the Red Sox, and everybody thinks they're cheaters too, but I don't care. I love it. Anyway, he goes there, and a story that I heard, and I don't know, this bro science might not be true, but I love it. He goes to the guy, and the guy says, "Sorry, bro, you can go. You're too small." And so he walks back over, and his dad's like, "Tell him to give you five hits, 5 swings." So he goes back to the coach, "Just let me give you 5 swings." Coach is typical, like, whatever makes your day, brother, because you're still on your way out. Hits 3 dingers, gone. 3 out of 5. Now in baseball, you strike out 7 times in a row, and you get on base 3 times, you're in the Hall of Fame. Yeah. You do that for the rest of your career, you're in the Hall of Fame. Brother banged. I don't know if it was 3 out of 5 or what it was, but he showed somebody. Now, I tell all my kids this. I say, and I'll tell you, if anybody tells you can't do it, go look that guy in the eye and say, "Uncle." I tell my kids to tell this, "Uncle, don't tell me that I can't make it." Because I tell them, don't spoil my dreams because you didn't reach yours. Yeah. Because how do you know I'm not going to wake up at 4:30 in the morning? How do you know I'm not going to do 2-a-days for the rest of my life? I'm 8 years old, 9 years old, playing basketball. How do you know that? Just because nobody's seen it yet doesn't mean it's not possible. And so if you look back when you were surfing and you said, "Bro, I tried my best," did you wake up at 5:30 every morning and go down to Barbers and try and get down there? And did you go train at the gym? And did you do this every day? Or on Friday, Saturday, and nights when guys was partying, did you go to sleep early? You know what I mean? You do there's always a way to get better. It's the Kobe thing.
That. No, I love it. And like for people out there, Nick knows, like, my jiu-jitsu or business, like I go for it,
You told me before, if you go to church again, you're going to be a pastor.
Yeah, if I go back to church, I'm going to start a church.
Nothing wrong with that.
That's how it's going to go.
Nothing wrong with that.
But so I love your mindset the most. Like, kids, listen to Nick.
But you
don't even listen to this podcast, kids. But unless my part, but you don't think like LeBron was born with something different?
This is honest to God.
Allen Iverson.
So I look at kids and I like, if a kid's unathletic, but he loves the game, that's all you need. Go get him. It's just the road's going to be harder.
Yeah.
So like, Mike don't know this, but back in the day they had Spud Webb, Muggsy Bogues. Those dudes was 5'7" playing
NBA.
Know
who Muggsy Bogues is?
I think Spud Webb was in the slam dunk contest, and he was like 5'8". He was my height.
Muggsy was even shorter than Spud Webb, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
They played in the NBA. They weren't on the bench. They were starters.
You ever see the original Space Jam? The short guy. The original one. They're like,
dude, I don't know
you
if
ever
he
be
was
so
born
young.
yet.
Yeah.
So, but I mean, like, how do you have a dude that's 5'7", 5'8" with everything going against him in the NBA?
But a statistician would tell you how many of those have there been.
Ask a statistician what the level of sports he played.
How many of those have there been?
There's been two. But I'm gonna tell you a story.
He's the only two had good mindset, and just so happened all the 7-foot guys got good mindset.
So wait, how many people made it? So are you telling me that when you went into real estate and you were doing what you're doing now, that you looked at the people that failed, or you looked at the people that succeeded?
You know, I'm kind of sick, so
exactly.
I looked at all of them.
So you did, right? And if it was a 1% that succeeded, would you have stopped? I know you. You wouldn't have stopped. You would have said, "Look, these guys did it. Why can't I?"
Actually, I didn't have your same mindset at the beginning of these things.
You do. You went from, hey, jiu-jitsu's kind of fun, to making gis, bro.
Right. I had a
to
company.
owning a jiu-jitsu company.
And I was pretty dang good too at blue and purple. I was like, I could hang with almost anyone.
You did, yeah.
But the thing, so when I was a blue belt in the Bay, and it's part of why I wake up and my hips and my knees are gone.
And we're old, bro.
But when I was a blue belt in the Bay, I was training, 10 to 12 times a week, and treating myself like a pro athlete, even though I wasn't. And I'm young and filled with testosterone, ego. And once I became a good blue belt and I was in that kind of shape, I could give purples, browns, blacks, give them problems. Not because I was technically better, but with that fitness, that commitment, and I would be a problem for people, right? And so I like going to other gyms. It was like, you're not supposed to train with other people back then, right? I liked it because I wanted the challenge. And I heard about this really good guy from Santa Cruz, and I wanted to try him out. And it never happened.
So Campbell, yeah?
Yeah. So you went to Campbell High School then. That's my my trauma.
Try them out.
It's my trauma from the past from guys picking on me at Campbell. But I didn't at that time. But a year or two later, I made friends with this guy, and he's like, "Oh, I got ties in Hawaii," and then I was like, we became good friends, and then the guy who was like in Santa Cruz, and the best name's Manny Diaz. I was like, I can't wait to try out Manny. He just won Purple Belt Worlds and got his brown on the podium. I'm maybe a new purple or like blue about to get purple or something. No, I was a blue about to get purple, but I'm like, never been a problem. I roll with Manny, and it's like, oh, there's levels.
Yeah.
And it's time commitment. We've been similar, obsession. He also became a pro golfer in 3 years.
See?
Started golf, had his pro card in 3 years. He was teaching me how to golf one time. This guy came up, and he was just watching. He's like, "Oh, bro, your friend knows what he's talking about." And then he looked at his golf clubs. He's like, "Look at where he hits the ball.
Yeah,
it's the size of half a dime. It's perfect every time." And
yeah.
Joel Tudor started jiu-jitsu. So I think there's just certain levels of exception.
No, it's not. It's the drive.
You don't think so?
I think
you don't give it up at all?
I don't give it. I'm never. You know why I'm not going to give it up? You know why I'm not going to give it up? Because I started surfing at 16 years old.
That is the thing too. When I was yesterday at practice, when I was watching my kids.
Why not?
Because I know my loan officer.
Your kid is 6 foot tall. He's 8 years old, so it don't matter.
My loan officer thinks that she'll start surfing and be good in a month or something.
Why not?
Maybe. And I surfing. It takes a bit. And he's surfing. He's a collegiate athlete. Started surfing. He's like, bro, this isn't something you just in 2 weeks you're good. And
it's not. But it doesn't. So if you focus on the way that I approach it when I tell those kids, I tell them, tell uncle, don't ruin my dreams because you didn't reach yours. Because think about it. When you tell a kid they can't do it, it's because you didn't do it. But you ain't that kid. So I know a kid. Shout out to Tracy Pine, Ellen, Brian, and and Melanie and Lance. They have I work with somebody, and Kanan. I'm gonna tell you a story. So Kanan, my son, he's 11 years old. At the time when he was 10, the Little League World Series kids I think it was last year or 2 years ago, smoked everybody. They did. Those are the best kids that ever came through. There's a kid on the team who's a star, Kikoa Painel, and he played 2 years. Usually you only play 1 year because it's a division, 12U. So if you're 11 or 12, you can play, but usually only the 12-year-olds play because they smoked the 11-year-olds, right?
Yeah.
He was 11 and 12. He played both years.
Wow.
This kid, my son loved him. So we went to go watch his game, and he said after the game, we talked to him. Kid's so humble. He's like, I look up to the kid. The kid's 13 years old, bro. I look up to him. Yeah. He told me a story, and I had him come to the field and tell all of my teammates this, all of my kids this. He's 12 years old now, or maybe 13. He wakes up at 4:30 in the morning, and he goes and works out every single day, just like Jordan says, every single day.
Yeah.
Okay. So he wakes up at 4:30. I said, what do you do? He says, it's too early to hit balls. So I just dry swing, meaning he just swings the bat, works on technique. He'll lift weights. He'll do whatever it takes. Now, let's say he has to go to school at 5:30 or whatever it is, He goes to school, he comes back. Now, he does this every day. He's done it 5 hours more than, or if he does it in an hour and a half or 2 hours, let's say he does it 2 hours.
Sure.
He works out 10 hours more than everybody else, right? Mm-hmm. This kid is, there's not only is he working out and getting better, but his mindset is better. So now when he goes into the box, and this is why mindset is important when you're an athlete. When I went and put a jersey on, I looked at it like all my hard work is done. Just like when you go to do jiu-jitsu matches, there's nothing I can do now. It's time to show off. Mm-hmm. And I better hope that what I did was enough preparation. So when he steps in the box to go hit, he looks around in the field, and I guarantee there's not one person or parent on the whole field that wakes up at 4:30 to work on their drive and what they need to do to succeed. Mm-hmm. And that's just confidence, you know what I mean? And hard work. And you do it. So I told Kanan, listen, Daddy used to wake up at 5:30 in the morning to go train with Chemo and my buddies Joel and Moody and Kylan and Mike Dodd and Shabbats. All my buddies.
Ripless.
June and Bam. Bam used to run up the hill too. I'll tell you about that training after this. But so I know that it sucks. And he does it every day. So now you think about that. You're that young, okay? All your friends are playing video games. All your friends are doing something else. You got to do what nobody else sees and nobody else wants to do. And he's doing it. So I told Kanan, you think he's going to make it to college? Because playing in college is a big deal, Mike. Whenever money's involved for you to buy a ticket or you get paid, that's a different level than anything else. Mm-hmm. High school is good, but anything after that, when there's money involved, that's elite athlete mentality. Yeah. Not saying I suck. We talk about this, but I wasn't that good at surfing. I'll be honest. If we're on a grand scale of things, I wasn't that good. I was lucky to be able to. Anyway, we're talking about somebody else.
Well, that's just there's levels, like because people tell me, oh, you're so successful in real estate and your business is so sophisticated. You have all these systems and processes. I'm like, no, we're not there. And it's like, well, but like I'm looking at like the Kellys and the Johns of real estate.
But you've only been doing this for 3 years, brother, right? Is that what you said?
3, like 3.5. Actually producing. I had my license before that, but I wasn't really doing anything.
How many businesses succeed in the first 3 years?
Yeah, no.
But that's exactly.
But
you sick.
So what that kid has. Oh
yes, sorry. So I'll go back. I'll go back to the story. So I told my son, do you think he's gonna make it to college and play? He goes, Dad, he's gonna make it to Major League. I said, wow. I said, why? He said, do you hear what he did? And another thing I told Kanan was he wakes up every morning at 4:30. He goes to his alarm clock and he has 2 choices: to push the snooze button, turn it off, or get his okole up. Yeah. And I said, Keikoa. His name is Keikoa Painel. Pele to his brother, and oh my God, I forgot the other brother's name. I think it's Kao. I'll remember it. I'm sorry, buddy.
Kao no here.
Yeah, they're all 3 badass. They have badass parents, Melanie and Lance. But he has a choice to get up and go do that. And I said, hey, are you? Like I asked Lance, the dad, like, do you wake up? He's like, no, he does it on his own. So he wakes up by himself and does it. Like, drilling by yourself and doing all those jiu-jitsu things by yourself and all these things that nobody sees. That's the times you get better. And I told him that, what do you want to do? Do you want to try this? So the next day, I said, all right, we're going to get up at 6 o'clock or 5:30. We're going to start at 6. And so we're going to get up early. And I told him, this is the promise, though. You can't tell anybody about this. This is not something you tell people. I was up at 5:30. I was training, whatever, this and that. You let your results show. You show people and you don't tell nobody. Mm-hmm. So that's what you promise. But so when I told people, he was like, I thought you said not to tell anybody or whatever. I said, you can't tell nobody. So the next day I thought, he's not going to be up. I set his alarm. He's going to go straight to sleep. And I woke up and he was just socks on.
Yeah.
Let's go. I was like, bro, he just melted my heart. Let's go. Yeah. But I learned, and it was the reason why you do it that early is 2 reasons. Getting the training done before anybody wakes up, which is a confidence booster for yourself and it's fitness wise. But the second thing and most importantly is the whole world is going to choose that off button on the alarm. Mm-hmm. And you're gonna get your Okoli up and do what nobody else does. That's why I think anybody can make it. Because if I'm 16 years old, sitting on my bed, not even knowing how to bottom turn, and looking at posters of Kalani Robb or whoever it was on my wall, and seeing in the results all my buddies just ripping and going to the contest and ripping and thinking like, oh, what are they doing? And take it to another level. And back then, there's no YouTube. You got to look at videotapes. Bro, I broke so many videos. I remember Loose Change. I had to get 2 copies because I ruined it. Yeah. But I was an idiot. I should have cleaned the tape later. I found that out. But if you can, the reason why we're going backwards I'm going back to that is I feel like nobody can stop you from fulfilling what you want to do. You know, if that's what you want to do, you go get it, and you don't let nobody tell you otherwise. Because the people that do tell you otherwise think there's roadblocks because they never reached it. Yeah. But if you're gonna do more than those guys did, brah, go get it. You know what I mean?
You don't talk to a fat guy about fitness, and you don't talk to whatever those analogies are. 100%. You don't go to someone who gave up on their dreams and talk about your dreams, right? I'm with you. I'm both with you, and I both also believe in what I'm saying at the same time. But your mindset is the one that certainly every child should have. And the thing you're saying is the thing it's very similar to how I coach people in real estate now, right? And similar to you, I don't view myself as like exceptional. In fact, I probably view myself as less than a lot of people that start out and fall off, because whether I'm insecure or just like never satisfied or some mix of both.
I think it's because you're open-minded and you realize that if you keep your mind closed and like, no, I did the right thing, don't talk to me, you ain't getting better because you got 2 years. God gave you 2 years to listen and only 1 mouth to talk. Yeah. And so you can't get better if you think you know everything, right? If your ego is bigger than your appetite to learn, your growth is impossible. Exactly. So at times, my ego could flare up and get past my appetite for growth, but then I got to be self-aware and tuck that guy away. Like, hey, here's a closet for you, because I cannot grow when I'm satisfied. Oh, look how much I did. Look how many houses I sold. Look how many teammates I helped. Like, yeah, and what? Like, I have to put him away. Yeah. But sometimes, like when someone tells you can't, or like, you're not even good or whatever, you're like, okay, now I have this ego. It's like the mitochondria in the cell, it's like, that's the power. Like, okay, thanks for that, I'll go do it. And I'm going to do it even twice as hard or 4 times as hard. So I used to run up, like I told in the last podcast, I was the rookie, right? Yeah. Nobody paid attention to me, and there's that guy again. Don't worry, I got him in my heat. It's done. Yeah. It's easy. We're going to smash this guy. And I used to I first trained with my buddy, my math teacher, Vern Lilly, and then Kimo Middlesworth, my real close friends, Mike Dodd and Jason Shibata, brothers to me, and, brought me over to him, and we trained in, we have a close crew, Sean Moody and Joel Centeo, Keikoa Bacalso, June would come, June Joe.
This is mid to late 90s.
No, this is like 2000, early 2000s.
Well, I mean the crew. It's like mid to late 90s, Hasa, like coming up, NSSA to like early 2000, pro-am. Like
Yeah.
Hawaii had a cohort that was.
We had, and Kylan Yamakawa, Ezekiel Lau. So Zeke used to come.
Zeke's young though. Huh?
Zeke's young. He's 20. I just surfed with him the other day. Zeke was, when I first seen him at Vern's. So Zeke's dad is Leonard Lau. He was a superstar wide receiver at UH.
Oh yeah.
And if you went to UH, that's like Hawaii's pro football team.
Yeah.
And so he has 3 kids, and they all play 2 of them play college sports and got scholarships, and Zeke is on the pro tour.
Wow.
They're all elite levels because anybody can do it. Yeah. I'm telling you, Derek. And the reason why is he knows what's important at a young age. Like wins and losses ain't important.
Yeah.
Falling down is actually better for you than making that points. You know what I mean?
Learn when you win. Hard to learn when you win.
And I feel
you can, but it's hard to learn when you win.
For you, I know, like, I feel like maybe, because Corey's family, they got me so hooked on the UFC and watching the MMA and everything.
Yeah, you get super into it, huh?
Bro, I was a small man syndrome, you know, like watching like Karate Kid, hoping like Daniel San beat up everybody. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like all those bullies, because I was small, everybody punked me out, and I had a mouth on me, so I was a punk too. But anyway,
I brought a lot of my problems on myself back then.
So they, where was I going at? Small man syndrome. Oh, with jiu-jitsu. Shout out to everybody that helped, Mark Carano and Loa and Ron Shiraki and AJ and everybody that helped, and Alika and all those guys that helped me with that. But you learn when you go into a jiu-jitsu place and you have an ego.
I love it.
There's no way you're getting better.
I've made my best friends. You know, ironically.
And isn't it funny? You get beat up and you're like, brother, thank you.
I made my best friends in jiu-jitsu. It's like the best relationships I've forged. I have my childhood friends from surfing or whatever, just, you know, it's proximity, but there's no hiding who you are in jiu-jitsu. It's revealing. It's, you know, an Avatar where they stick like their tails braid with the other tail and you can like see into their soul. That's jiu-jitsu. When you slap hands and bump and you start going, you're like, oh, this guy's kind of a tricky guy, or this guy's, you know, a real dominant guy, or like, and it manifests in other sports too. But in jiu-jitsu, it's just like,
raw.
You're trying to kill each other with your hands. Like, so.
That's fun.
Yeah, I made my best friends in jiu-jitsu.
But it's the best. The thing that I love about it is, and boxing's the same. Any combat sports is the same. It's like you need to get subbed. You need to get choked out. You need to get knocked out. Hopefully not knocked out, but you need to get punched in the face to learn where your holes are at and how to improve. Yeah. If you don't fail, if you don't go through that process of failing and pushing through that, you ain't gonna make it. Yeah. But that's why the drive is so important. So I went back to we go into left field again.
That's all right.
But so when I trained with Chemo, he had us come there at 6:00 on the dot. That means that all the boys from the North Shore.
That was the hill running?
The hill. So we run up Kamehameha Hill. It was like a mile up. And every time I ran up the hill, you stop. I told myself, if I stop, I lose the heat. And I lose the heat to guys that talk trash to me and told me I can't do it. So I'd go up to the top, and almost every single time, even when I was in the best shape ever, because I would push it. Oh, sorry. Kekoa Kazumaro used to come too. I just remember him, picturing him. And I would throw up at the top almost every time. And we jump in the pool, and I used to hate swimming. And maybe that's why I didn't really like bigger waves. Yeah. But because I wasn't comfortable swimming. Yeah. And I would, the first few times, I hated
high level surfer. Second in all of Japan.
That's why they get leashes, bro. Yeah. Don't fall. I think that's why I never fall. Don't fall. You know?
I don't like getting wet.
But I used to puke in the pool all day. He used to he used to do this thing where you swim if you're a swimmer, this is probably like it's easy stuff. But he used to, and this is not even high level. I hear they get more nuts, but we used to swim. So every 3 strokes you take a breath. Then we go to 5 strokes, you take a breath. So
every other.
Then you go to 11 and you go to 13. So I used to hate those things. Yeah. So you go like 1, 2, 3, breathe. 1, 2, 3, all the way to. Okay, we're gonna do like 3 5s, 3 7s, and we're gonna go all the way to 13. Like 13 strokes without breathing. Like dang, he's like, let's go. Like, oh man. Or like he'll grab a bungee cord. Chemo just thought of ways to torture us, and he'll put it on our belt and tie it to the end of the pool, and we have to swim, and we have to get past the line, and we can't we can't go back.
Oh.
And he'd look at us and he'd let us know when to stop. And we'd have to do it freestyle. We have to do it breaststroke.
What is he like with a goggles underneath you or something?
Yeah,
or
he has goggles right there.
So he's like underneath you looking up.
Yeah.
And like,
So we're
okay,
Yeah. So and he has
wow.
his stopwatch. He's ready. He's ready to stop us. But yeah, Chemo sacrificed a lot. Looking back, I'm so grateful for Chemo.
What is his last name?
Chemo Middlesworth. So shout out to Chemo Middlesworth. Kylan Yamakawa and Cole Yamakawa work with him. But
Chemo's a sicko. Torture.
And you look at him, he doesn't look like the most biggest, buffest dude. He's a good, he looks like a in shape kind of guy.
Yeah.
He's a financial advisor.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah. So hit him up. Look up Chemo Middlesworth.
Oh. Shit, I got to talk to him.
You should. He would
That's
have a lot
like,
to say.
like athlete, surf / finances. Like, that's my guy.
He's your guy.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's your guy.
Yeah.
He had to deal with like 2 neck surgeries.
Oh, wow.
Usually you can't. It's hard to recover from those, but with a mindset like that, like it's no worries.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
wow. So, well, this is another way to look. And it's just fun conversation. I'm not trying to defend like limited mindset because I hate it. It's a disease. I generally try to get away from me, but I don't mind being pragmatic. You know, one thing that I think that kid Kikoa is born with, I think born with, you know, genetic expression,
Kikoa.
hormonal balance. Painel.
Okay.
That kid, they have an obsession. They have an obsession and the mindset, like, because working hard is too painful to do if you don't enjoy it.
So I love
it's too like there's like meme. No, yeah, you can jump in, but there's like you hear like Instagram memes of all this entrepreneur stuff. He's a real estate agent. We're all into like wake up, work out, ice bath. You know, it's like a very realtor insurance thing to do, right? But they, you know, it's like being an entrepreneur. The reason why most people are employees is because the failure, or I don't even like the connotation associated with failure.
That's not a bad word.
It's a good word.
Yeah.
But like the failure and the angst and the stress associated with entrepreneurship, similar to athletics, it's just not enjoyable. Our bodies are programmed to avoid that. And you have to be obsessed to get through that, whether it's athletics or business. So I still think LeBron's born with different muscle fiber composition and, you know, whatever, and then applied. And Jordan also born, but then applied. And Kobe then worked harder than everyone else on top of it to be like that elite. But maybe they don't even, LeBron's like maybe a bench rider if he's not obsessed, you know, like you have to be obsessed.
You can't at that level. You need to be, yes.
You can't force yourself. Like I can't. I hate, like school. I when I was disinterested, I just wouldn't do it. I could get A's. I hated it. But Kikoa Painel, he enjoyed it, and then he has something about him. He's obsessive.
So I think as a kid, I think it starts from kids. So I think that, in my opinion, I remember you work hard. You need to see a little bit of success, whether it's some praise from your dad. Because kids always just want to hear it from their dad. Hey, good job, right? Yeah. And us as dads is not always willing to say it all the time, which because you don't want to. Oh, well, for me, I'm the head coach. You know, there he goes again, praising his son. You know what I mean? But I'm looking at it now, and I got to be selfish because I got to give my son some praise. And so I think that when you get a little bit of praise and you get a little bit of success, it's like, oh, I can do this. Yeah. I can do this. And that just leads to more, I can do this. You know, I fall down, get up, you good. Now you learned, right? Yeah. Like, I feel like errors and losses make you a better person, 100%.
So you think you can foster and lead that obsession into someone who's not obsessed?
If you don't have the love, you're not going to do the extra work that nobody sees. You're not going to do the wake up at 4:30 a.m.
It's too painful. It's too hard.
Exactly.
Unless you're obsessed.
Unless you have the love. Yeah. Unless you have that drive. And you need to have somebody there to support you, a good support team. So I remember the best years that I had on tours after I met my wife.
Really?
She was amazing. So if
you
your life...
maybe it would go the other direction. You know,
no.
you have someone holding you down. You know, you can't work out. You got to go movies.
No, because I feel like it's similar. The way I look at it is when you have a bad day at work and you come home, are you the best parent and husband that you could possibly be? No way. But if you have a great day, sold 4 houses for $1 million, sold 4 houses for $10 million, you come home, you can be the best dad husband you ever were in your life, right? So it's
more good days.
And it's just like the same way other way around. If your kids and you make your kids happy and your wife happy at home, you're gonna have a good day at work, right?
Yeah.
It's a mindset, and it's sad, but it's a reaction of the things around us. And in this world, like, this world's broken, man. You can't go off of that. You need to be strong-minded enough to try to. So going back to the mindset of that, you gotta let the kids know that they can do it and be that positive person. So if you have like, you watch like go watch every single thing. Jordan, Curry, LeBron,
Klay
James
Thompson
Harden.
was just on Paul George's podcast saying how, like, we all work out, but then Steph, he's like crazy. He's obsessed.
You watch the
and that's Klay Thompson, second best shooter ever. Like,
you watch the Redeem Team before. You see how all those guys went in Vegas. They went to the club, and you know who was walking down. Kobe was going down the escalator with his workout gear.
I don't know if you watched read Mind Gym, but do you hear all the stories about Kobe? He probably made sure he went down that escalator when they were coming home. Like, he told the bellman, like, call me when those guys get in. Yeah. Because I'm heading down.
Oh, you read that thing and you do things on purpose. Like,
guarantee Kobe did that.
I do so many things. Now, it's bad, though, sometimes, because if I get somebody irritates me in the water, I say things that I'm small. I'm going to get beat up, right? And but my goal is to say something that they'll remember. I'm not like, I go to church now. I'm not like that. But I used to be like, I want them to remember me for the rest of their life and what I say. But that's because I was so, you got to be obsessed with the whole everything. And
do you think that we need some pain? Like you say, small man syndrome, people picked on you. I think of David Goggins. You know David Goggins, right?
I don't listen to him, but I love it that he's like,
who's going to carry the boats? They don't know me.
There you go.
They don't know me. Like, he has pull-up records to the extent that, like, he's bleeding, or you can see his bone, and he's doing pull-ups, but he's like gripping different. Like, he's sick.
That's because.
And I think you need. I don't know if you can do that without trauma in your life.
So when you say, that's a good question.
I mean, in like an endearing way. Like, I don't know if you can do that kind of stuff without a certain level of trauma in your past. So
that's an amazing question, and I think you're exactly right. I think for you too, in your life, you failed at a lot of things, right? Yeah. You didn't get something that you wanted to. So if you look at Steph Curry, he was small when he was in college. He was shooting at the hip right before he went into high school. And he had to learn how to get better or quit. Jordan got cut. The best basketball player that walked this planet got cut from his high school team.
Yeah, that's somewhat similar to you starting at 16 and then being like number 2 in all of Japan, right?
You know how many people, I'm going to tell you, I don't know if I said it the last time, but I remember, and disclaimer, for my friends that told me that I couldn't do it, I love you. I love you, and you helped me get there. Yeah. And I remember people did I tell you this?
What they were wearing.
Yeah. Where we were. I remember where we were, which parking stalls we were in. Yeah. I remember what time of the day it was, because I remember the kids weren't surfing yet, and all. But
see, I think you're born with it, because you seem like you had a pretty decent family life.
So
it's not like your dad like beat the crap out of you. And
nah, my dad beat me up for sure.
Your mom, he did?
Yeah.
You get lickings?
You all get lickings.
No, but I mean like.
Oh, not.
It's not like.
Okay, I apologize for yes. Yeah. He didn't.
You didn't have
back then. Everybody got beat up a little bit, but it wasn't. It wasn't like. I apologize for the people that are getting like child abuse. Yeah, that's a different level.
But you know what I mean? Horrible. It's like you weren't there because your dad didn't love you, or dad left you, or like you had a decent family home at least. If not, your dad had some amazing, better than decent qualities, I can tell. But I think like the fact that you were so offended when they told you cannot, like good for you, you were born with that.
So you need to, I feel like in your life, and that's why as a head coach, I want to tell every kid why they can do it. Yeah. So I have the kids come to our church and we watch movies, and I literally make them watch movies about people telling people they can't do it and they succeed.
Love it. I love those kind of like you ever seen Finding Forrester?
No, I gotta.
Sean Connery, the underdog, like the kid from the ghetto is
man, I love it.
perceived to be uneducated, goes to the private school, they treat him horribly, and then he just shows them up. I love those stories.
I love those stories.
That's like one of my favorite movies, Finding Forrester. I can tell you like it.
That's my
this
life.
This teacher is really like this really condescending, elitist type guy, and then in the movie he mistakes and he goes, "Do you anything farther, Mr. Forrester?" And he's like, "Further." The teacher turns around, "What?" "Further. Farther is a measure of distance. Further is a figurative." And like he's like, "Get out! Get out!" And I'm like, "Yeah, I love it. I love causing problems with me."
That was you at Campbell. That's why I bring back some memories.
My teacher like slapped me one time.
Oh,
because
back then you could do that.
No,
actually, you shouldn't be able to do that ever. I take that back.
My parents used to watch the news, right? And when I moved to Hawaii, I was the only child, so they'd be watching the news, I'd be listening, and then I saw him at the airport. I was still living in California before we came home. So I saw him at the airport probably 6 years ago. And he was like barely standing, barely stay awake, like old, like aged, and working like agriculture or something. And I was like, "Hey, remember me? Yeah, you tried to kick me out of Campbell, huh?" And he looked at me and Michelle was like, "Derek, stop it." And I was like, "Yeah, that's what you do, huh? You try to kick kids out of school and for what?" And then she's like, "Stop." And but he got mad at me and he led the charge to try and kick me out of school. And he made it like it was an endearing fatherly like pat on the back, but he hit me hard. My classmates were even like, "Oh."
Yeah.
And it like slapped me, it hurt. And but my dad like didn't believe me, you know. He was like, "Nah, you caused trouble, that's why." But they tried to kick me out of school, and it was because I would always, in Hawaii, we said like gong your line. I would always gong his line. I'd be like, no, that's not what happened. And then I would like state something really factual, and then the kids would be like, "Oh, Mr. Derek knows more than you," which is not a strength of mine, right? But yeah, I would do that kind of stuff. Yeah.
That's so funny. I'm glad you didn't beat the guy up. You didn't twister him or something.
I probably could have.
I'm sure you could have.
He used to fall asleep in class.
No. I'm talking about when you seen him at the airport.
Nah, no, never.
Yeah.
And now when I go airport, I wonder sometimes if I'm going to see him. And I wouldn't tear into him anymore. But I still don't know. Like, I still haven't achieved full grace for him. Like, he wanted to kick me out of school. And I wasn't, like, mentally in a position to be like, "I'm going to show you." Yeah. I actually carried it into my 30s of like, "Oh, I must be worthless. They wanted to kick me out of high school."
Yeah.
I didn't think that actually, but only when I found success in business did I realize that these teachers had an effect. Like they told me, they basically said, "You're not fit for this." And the way modern, like the school system is you don't make it in school, you're not going to make it at a job. You don't get a good job, you're not going to be a successful human.
Yeah.
And so I had that ingrained super early.
All of us do.
Not the good students. The good students, they make, and that's actually maybe even more detrimental because the good students, they make it like, "Oh, you're going to be very successful. You got good grades." And then they go out and...
No, but that's a belief, right? Get good grades. You know what I think is more important than school?
That's sabotaging a kid. Most good grades lead to college debt and like lower middle class money.
But I think, you know what I think that, I think the difference between a kid that, I think college is important. And I think going to school is important. I think sports is important because you do things that you don't want to do to get what you want to get. That's life right there. So if you want to go to school and if you want to go to a job and you want to be the CEO, and there's a path to get there, it's not blocked. If you work your okole off and you get there, but you're going to come across a lot of roadblocks. And in order to get through those roadblocks, you're going to have to, like you said, be a little sick, but you have to, I view it as you got to do what it takes that nobody sees to get there. You need to do the extra. You have a different
perspective. Like, I think that, just my experience, experience, once I let go of doing the things that no one wants to do, like at least in the employment world, to get the things, then I discovered, oh, I'm not cut to be an employee. And then I got out of employeeism And then I got into self-employment and business. And I was like, oh, the things no one wants to do is because they're not willing to bet on themselves and come out here and hunt. So the things no one wants to do are like homework and jobs and college and get a good job and then be nice and be a manager and stay late. And now I'm like, yeah, all that sucks. Like, be obsessed about do things that people are scared to do. Like,
there you go.
Like branch off and be an insurance agent, or start a split AC company or a painting company, or things people are afraid to do. But the things that people don't like doing, because no one wants to do it, but it's safe.
That's a good point. That's a really good point. I think we have the same.
It's similar.
It's very, very similar. It's basically, you got to fall down and get back up. If you want to reach your goals, you need to. So I wanted to tell you a story about going back to you on the treadmill, thinking like Nick's speaking nonsense.
No, you know what it was? I remember it was basketball practice yesterday. That's what I used to coach, and they just told me yesterday, like, hey, come back and help coach because we get too much kids. I was gone for a month. The club doubled. There's like 20 something kids playing basketball, and I see all the different skill levels, and I'm like, freaking Nick, he just thinks of all these kids.
Yeah.
And I think you are mostly right. And you maintain that you're 100% right for you, but I agree with you almost entirely.
So the reason why I say that I ain't gonna say I'm 100% right because you ain't but I feel like
well, you're convicted and you're
if you go through life and you think like this is another thing I tell my team, and this is probably really bad. My wife said don't share this kind of negative stuff, but I say, hey, I yell at them, who makes it? Because when you're like, hey, how come you didn't do this, or why didn't you do that? Oh, that guy did that, or oh, the ball hit this, or whatever. I'm like, well, that's fine. Do the right thing. You make a mistake, we learn. That's how you learn, right? You ain't gonna make that mistake no more. Mm-hmm. So I yell at them when I ask something and they make an excuse or they blame somebody else. I say, who blames people and makes excuses? And they yell, losers.
Yeah, I love it.
And I say, what do champions do? Learn from their mistakes. I said, that is a life lesson right there. Because when I had to transition to insurance, it was fail, fail, fail. I said in the last time, I was fail, fail, fail. Why am I going to trust you with my life, my business, my livelihood, my family's livelihood? For a guy who was on tour last year, for a guy who's worrying about where to hit the lip, I'm worrying about my assets, how if my business income is enough, if my liability enough, if I go do all those things. They didn't know that I was going to do a lot, be very, like in your words, sick, and try to just go full on, do things I'm brought up to don't tell nobody, show people. Because I used to tell people a lot what I could do. And shout out to my buddy when I was bodyboarding. Oh, I did an El Rolo, cool. I did like 3 spinners on a wave. Yeah, cool. And we go surfing, bodyboarding. He'd be like, where's all those things you could do? It was, I'm so, shout out to my boy, Brian Higa. He told me that, and it helped me to realize, shut your mouth.
Yeah.
Like, show somebody.
It's a very Hawaii quality too, right? It's just like,
don't tell nobody. It's a lot more impactful when you show them.
Yeah.
And so, like, in anything else. So I wanted to go back to that, your basketball thing.
Yeah.
About you saying some of these kids just aren't athletic. Right? And they're what, 8 years old?
They're, between like 8 and 10.
So 8 and 10. So disclaimer, Derek is, how tall are you?
Well, 5'11" and a half.
Derek's 6 feet tall. His son is the biggest kid guarantee in the whole league.
No. Well, because
top 5.
People
top
cheat.
10.
No, like people bring.
Okay, he's probably one of the
kids with mustaches. I'm like, you freaking coaches. These are like 12, 13-year-olds in a 4th graders league. Like the audacity of some of these coaches. But in his school, which is a pretty Asian school, but still, he's the tallest 3rd grader
in his division. He's stronger and bigger than a lot of kids. And a lot of kids who are smaller have to play up, and they're going to have to work on their technique to be perfect. I think
at that age, speed, even the other coaches, they're like, at this age, size almost never is the biggest kid the best. It's always like At that age, it's size and speed and agility.
Which is that's gonna forever.
Yeah.
Right. So that's what you got to work on.
But the tall kid can get by in high school being tall because I'm just tall. But like at 8, 10 years old, it's like smaller is almost better. Like surfing, like smaller almost better for a lot of kids.
Right.
Yeah.
But I feel like at that age.
But I don't want to ingrain that excuse in my kid. I'm with you. You know, I'm just.
But at that age, like.
Hopefully my kid never listens to this.
Big picture wise, wins and losses don't mean nothing to kids. They eating snacks. They don't care about it, right? The only person that cares about wins and losses from now until high school is probably parents and coaches.
And parents get nuts.
They get nuts. But what you got to worry about if we lose the game? I know it's going to affect your day because you held on to that and you feel like we should, or the coach made a wrong decision, or your kid didn't do well, or that other kid didn't do well. But big picture, who cares?
Yeah.
Because you enrolled your kid in a sport for him to get better.
Yeah.
And you didn't enroll for if you enrolled for the team to win, great. When you go to high school and you say, hey, Coach Derek, you seen me on TV last year.
Yeah.
That was our team. Yeah. No, he could be like, no way, that was you. Hey, you made the team. You good. Go sit down. Grab a soda over there. He's going to say, get your ass off the bench. Get your Okole off the bench. Grab your glove and get out there. That don't mean nothing to me.
Right.
In fact, I might cut the kid that tells me that.
Yeah.
I might not even, I look at him straight in the eye and not say anything. Yeah. So he knows everybody's equal. Jordan got cut. You know what I mean? And I feel like at that age, big picture wise, you need to work on and building the kid up. The worst kid, I get the worst kid and I say, why not? You want to be good? Yeah. Why not? Go home and practice. Yeah. So I tell all of our kids, 20 swings a day. 20 swings a day. That's all I want. Back in the day, I used to swing it 100 times. But after about 50, you're tired, you're grouchy, you don't want to. Dad, swing the bat. Yeah. That's why you strike out every time, you know? Yeah. And I was small, right? I was 5'2" at best when I was a senior, so I was even minier. And so I realized now 20 good swings is worth way more than 100 swings and 90 bad swings, building bad habits. But the reason why I make them do it is now I got to sacrifice playing video games for 5 minutes and do this. Now I got to sacrifice watching TV. And so if they can do that at 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 years old, they're going to be able to build that sacrifice and do it otherwise. So when Kanan was just on an all-star team and I told the kids, first practice, this is what I want, 20 swings a day. Only a few kids did. The big kids who already had strength and were bigger than everybody else and stronger than everybody else, maybe not the best technique, they did not.
Yeah.
And it shows, it's going to show later because everybody's going to get equal, all the strength in, right?
Yeah.
So just...
Jody, our lender, is a college player, D1 college soccer player, and she was talking about how, kids who are the best at 8, who are at 10, you'll see later when all the strength, levels out.
It levels out, bro. Yeah. And then it doesn't matter. Then you can't, But I'm going to share something... when you was talking about being a basketball coach, being on the treadmill, saying you can't do it. So my dad told me this story. You know who Sir Roger Bannister is? Do you know who that is?
No, I feel like I heard that, though. Who's that?
So I guarantee I probably told you this at some barbecue. That's why. So in 1954, up until 1954.
Is this the mile?
Yeah.
I love this stuff. It's my favorite story. I intend to have it printed in here and put on the wall. Tell it so everyone can hear.
So it's
and this is like scientific empirical data that can.
No, go look. Yeah, go look it up. You watching YouTube now. You listen to a podcast. You on your phone. Go to YouTube right now. Look up Sir Roger Bannister.
This is one of the greatest stories of human potential, in a certain way. Yeah. So what happened?
So up until 1954, nobody broke the 4-minute mile. In other words, they ran a mile and it was 4 minutes. 4 minutes and 1 second, 4 minutes and
10 seconds, whatever.
A millisecond, whatever.
Yeah.
The doctor said it was physically impossible, that you couldn't do that or you would die.
Your heart would explode. Yeah. Your heart, if you try, you'll die.
If you try, you'll die. Yep.
Yeah.
4 years. So Sir Roger Bannister said, I can do this.
Yeah.
He said, I can do this. Everybody said, there's no way. The doctor said you can't do this. He did it. 3:59 and whatever.
And he wasn't a professional Olympic runner.
He wasn't? I don't know.
No. He was I think he was a a college student at the time and doing like in between things. But the difference is his mind. So once he shifted and said it's possible, he did it. And then what followed?
4 guys in the next 4 years, 20 other people broke the 4-minute mile.
No, bro, in the next like months, people broke it.
Yes. Yeah. Within that year, a couple other, I don't know you go look it up on YouTube.
Yeah.
But within that year, more people broke it is the main thing that you got to know.
Yeah.
So when you tell me that it's impossible for anybody to not do anything, maybe you're at home and you're like, you just got fired and you just, or something just didn't go your way. Like, you need to realize anything's possible.
Like Kevin Garnett, huh? You've seen Kevin Garnett when they won the championship?
Anything's possible, yeah.
Anything's possible.
No, it's true, man.
Yeah.
Like, I honestly believe, that's why I tell you that when I look at all those kids and I tell them, look, anything is possible. You can make it.
I'm so with you that I almost like don't like this podcast because I almost sound like I don't agree. I agree. And, you know me, like I've achieved a few things.
Yeah.
And just like how I know, I like have this need, and I actually work on it, and even started going to therapy. But not specifically for this, but the guy commented, he's like, I said, I have this need to be self-aware. And like, he's like, yeah, like he didn't get too excited about much. He's like, yeah. Like you have this, like you want to be self-aware. You don't want to be too overconfident, but like you're very confident. Like you're like so self-aware, but like causes you to like speak in generalization sometimes. And, and kind of black and white about things. I was like, oh yeah, well that stems from like my mom, and I don't know, unpack it here, but like, yeah, I'm like very black and white. Like that's a good person. That's a bad person. I tend to kind of be too much like that. So in pragmatism, like, yeah, I can freaking do anything, but also like, my cardiovascular baseline is a little different than other people. Like that's like my stick is like, yeah, I can surf is good, but, or maybe I don't believe that, but but Nick had something more innate than I did, but then he also obsessed and worked harder. So I don't take like one away. I don't think they're mutually exclusive. And so, like, I think like, my ego doesn't serve me, but I don't go around and pretending like I don't have one though. Like I know it flares up and even gets in my way, and then I put it away, and then I flare it up.
Yeah.
So like
confidence.
I don't disagree with. I love everything you're saying. I love it all.
Yeah. You said earlier that statistically, you think that everybody can do this.
No, how many 5'6" guys ever made it in the NBA?
Yeah,
but I think there've been a lot of obsessed, committed 5'6" guys. I just think the NBA is a certain thing.
Could be. They could. I mean, I could be wrong. But you know what?
But what I'm saying doesn't serve you. So like what you're saying serves you way better.
But I'm gonna say this: why are you gonna even stop? Why are you gonna stop even trying for your dream? Like that saying, right? A black belt is a white belt who stopped coming.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. And who knows? Everybody can be. Do you agree? Everybody could probably be a black belt.
Oh, I have stories about it that are content on YouTube. Yeah.
So if everybody could be a black belt, why can't a lot of 5'7"? Yes, there's going to be a lot of guys that fail, but what's the worst thing that comes out of that? He don't make it. And do you think that won't transition when he goes to work?
They're a better business person. They're a better consultant, 100%.
The lessons that you just learned from failure and
100%.
all of those things will make you a champion no matter what you do. I feel like
100%.
Yeah. Like I look back at my career. Oh man, I didn't make it on the CT. I didn't do that. Maybe I wasn't that good. I said it earlier. I wasn't that good. Well, you know what? I'm making excuses now, and my kids would tell me, "You're a loser now, Coach Nick. You're a loser."
Yeah.
Champions learn from their mistakes. Hey, maybe I should have surfed 10-foot pipe more. Maybe I should have stopped being a wussy and get up my Okole out there and
That's
get
the hard
comfortable.
thing about surfing. You could die in the pursuit.
You could die. You could die. But you could die in a lot of things, man.
Yeah.
So
you could die playing soccer, I guess.
Yeah.
Way less likely though. Pipe. Oh.
It's a scary place, yeah. But,
it's scary.
Yeah.
Looking over at it from Ehukai, I was like, yeah, that's not me. That's not me. In fact, I better not get sucked over there.
Current. Which way is the current going? Yeah.
What do you think about we touched on it last time, but that 90s to 2000s cohort of Hawaii surfers, am I just an old uncle thinking that, we had like and I say we, I mean the generation, obviously I wasn't at that level, but like we had something special back then, or is it the same now?
Yeah, bro,
Are there that many that are that good?
I think they're better.
So we're just a little bit uncle status.
We're uncles, bro.
No, I don't doubt that they're better. I think, in fact, in basketball, I think people talk about how Jordan would have ran through everyone. I'm like, wow, you ever seen how technical James Harden is? Like,
Jordan would still be relevant today.
Oh, yeah, but here's the thing about that conversation. I love the Jordan conversation. Yeah. The thing about that conversation is you take Jordan through whatever scientific wormhole and put him to today, be relevant, but he wouldn't be Jordan. But the thing is, if he grew up with this level of training, with this level of science in his mindset, he would be Jordan again, but it'd be Jordan 2.0. Like, you can't take someone who grew up with the 1960s technology and training.
Correct.
It's not a fair comparison.
It's not.
But it's like, what if Jordan grew up, was born in the year 2000? Like, that's the comparison.
I agree. We'll like a Randy Couture, somebody who was started MMA in their mid 30s, right? But bust his okole to get to where he was and became a UFC champ. If you put him in now, and he'd bust his butt.
UFC is a good example because it's grown so fast, so recently that like you see the generations happen every few years, like the skill levels, like BJ, right? Like, but no, the 90s to 2000 surf, I don't doubt that the guys now are better. Was it a special time where we had so many?
Nah, I think it. You
so
know
many
what?
Good guys.
I thought about that a lot after you said it on Monday, and I feel like, dude, that's our generation. That's
it's just because that's just
your dad and my dad will be like Jerry Lopez, Tony Moniz, Denki Aloha. Those are the guys. Michael Derrick Hall. Those are the guys. The kids today, they just doing airs. Those guys, you know what I mean? And that's just
so it's more of a there's just as many good guys coming out of Hawaii at one time in like a 5-year period now.
I think there's like John, Imai, Ian, Baron, Mamiya. There's a lot of kids. I just surfed the other day, and
Eli Hanneman is nuts.
Josh Muniz, Zeke, Kaito Kino, who's it? Kalana Paul. There was Shion Crawford. There was a lot of good kids out there. Kiko Casimiro. There was a lot of good kids out there, and they were killing it. And they're so cool to me. I'm such an uncle, you know. I was so stoked to see them. But it just made me so warm that they were surfing so good, but so respectful.
Yeah.
And I think that I remembered Monday you told me that, and it's funny that I seen them on Wednesday, and cool. I was just like, oh, or maybe it was Thursday, it was Wednesday, and I just remember seeing them, just like, oh, nah, it's still happening. We're just uncles, and we're just hooked on the Kelly Slater crew, and you know what I mean, Joel and all those guys. Bonga in longboarding, there was Bonga, Rusty, Kekoa.
That generation of Hawaiian longboarders, I think, was special because longboarding has gone in like a single fin kind of classic direction, and the spirit of Hawaiian longboarding from the 90s isn't as alive. But yeah, those at Barbers, you'd have Kamu and Koa, and I remember Bonga's so cool. He came and surfed the contest, got lost the first heat, and everyone's like, what? Like, even out of just respect, you put him through on these little waves. And he was just cruise. He was like, it don't matter. Whereas I saw some other guys I won't name used to yell at judges and yell at the event organizers. You
know what's funny, I think, too, and surfing is a big you know what I used to do in surfing that I didn't see much people do? And kids, if you're listening, you should do this in every sport. Somebody told me that you need to, maybe it was my dad or my mom, go ask them why you lost. Like I said, losers blame, other people make excuses, right?
Yeah.
So I would go, and after I lost, after the event, stick around, or maybe right after the event, talk to the head judge and be like, hey, but approach it in a way where you're humble and open, and let them know you're open about it, and tell them, hey, what do you think I should have done to make that heat?
Yeah.
And they will honestly tell you. Why would you not want advice from the guy who's giving you the scores?
Yeah.
No, Nick, you need to do this.
And if your ego is bigger than your appetite for growth, you won't go do that.
Hey, man, if you want to blame other people, make excuses, you ain't going to grow.
Yeah.
But if you want to be a champion and figure out how to get it done, go be the humble guy and ask. Just like that's why in jiu-jitsu, when you get choked out, you ask the guy to do it again. Show me where your hand went. Show me where your hand went. It's so funny, but no, it's hard to comprehend if you haven't done it. But it's like I've never tapped out any of my brother-in-laws. Adam, Bryce, you, anybody that.
You caught Aaron.
No, I never rolled with Aaron. Yeah. Devin, probably, I never tried. But even my brothers, Casey and Cody, like they're all
strong guy.
But when you get tapped in jiu-jitsu, you're like, wait, do that again. And you do it again. Wait, show me how you transitioned there. Because you lost. You did lose.
If you've lasted any amount of time, you must do that.
You need to.
Because the people that, if not, you're 2 weeks max. You're not going to come back.
Oh, yep, exactly.
Jiu-jitsu is so revealing because you cannot not fail, like, quote unquote fail. You fail so much, and the feedback's immediate, and there's no, it's a meritocracy. It's objective. There's no like, nah, but I would have like no.
That's what, and when you say revealing, it's revealing on your personality.
I love it
because it's so good. You realize you need to get choked out. Well, you're going to go into a jiu-jitsu place the first time and think you're going to choke everybody out because you bench press 400 pounds?
You're going to find out. When the 16-year-old girl taps you 5 times in 5 minutes,
when the nerd guy's talking about comics and stuff like that, puts you in a pretzel and you're like, oh, that's why I just love it when you see guys. Jiu-jitsu is awesome.
I think jiu-jitsu is one of the things. I mean, you saw me and my personality and my professional life and like evolve over time, and any good part of that progression has been jiu-jitsu is a huge part of it.
Yep,
because it's just like just peeling back layers. Like, no, you excuse, no. Oh, you egotistical, no. Like all of it, no.
That's good.
There's no room for any of it.
We at the church that I go to.
Shout out Pearlside.
Shout out to Pearlside. Changed their family's life.
Pastor Billy, shout out.
Pastor Billy. So I have there's a lot of guys who help me out. Billy, Tim, Kalai, Jarek, Jenny. Like there's a lot of people who help me out. But Billy asked me one day and he's like, hey, do you want to host? That means do the welcome and talk in front of all these people. Talking is everybody's worst fear. Yeah. Maybe not yours. Derek is a different person, but
I get nervous too. When I spoke recently at a real estate event, I was nervous. I had to like get up for it, and
it's not a comfortable situation.
Yeah.
A few years ago, I did an insurance seminar thing with my buddy Kevin and Higaki and my dad, and I went up and I thought I was prepared. I was like, I know this. No worries.
It's different when you
Bro, when I got up, I was like, Kevin, I can't feel my legs. And he's like, what do you mean? I was like, bro, I'm going to fall down. You got to grab me if I fall down. He's like, what? And I just started talking and just words came out. I was like, what? And my dad's like, what is this guy? Okay, so. And he like took it over and he's like, what's wrong with you? I was like, bro, he's all, did you prepare? I said, no. He goes, what? You think you can just roll up and you be fine? You that good? You think? No. Yeah, and so we had another one and he made me do it. He's like, you need to prepare. Yeah. And we're going to do this and we're going to do reps. So it brought me back. So anyway, going back. Pearlside Billy was like, hey, do you want to do the welcome? And I was like, oh, that's going up and talking in front of people and welcoming them. And for me, I felt like it was a scary thing to do. Mm-hmm. And I told him, no, I ain't going to do that. And I'm getting spiritual now, but I was like, you know what? If God wants me to do this, I got to do it. I got to listen. And so I did it, and I failed, of course. And I realized I need reps.
What do you mean you failed?
I didn't do just like you, how you feel like you're not there.
You didn't do as good as you could have.
I didn't do as good as I wanted to.
As you wanted to. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. And so I realized I needed reps. So I have to go there, and shout out to my buddy Jason over there who helps me out. But every week or every time I go to that church and nobody's around, I'll try to go on stage and do a rep.
Yeah.
Every day I'm in the shower, I'll try to say a rep. And my wife's like, oh, your shower's so long now. I was like, oh, I'm taking a rep. But I realized like that the reps that you do outside of doing something is what you need to do to get to where you need to go.
Yeah.
And if you think that when I get done with it, I ask all those guys, hey, listen, I'm a different kind of person. I know you're going to tell me great job and whatnot, but I want you to tell me technically what the bad things I did were. Mm-hmm. I want to be open-minded to hear it. And so they do. And I have a note thing that's so long about all those things, and I read it all the time. But in order to get better, you have to be open-minded. How you're talking about jiu-jitsu, you need to be open-minded, do the things that you know. Yeah. Yeah, it's scary. I don't know how I came up with that.
You're growth-minded, you know, and that's an interesting thing about you for me is because I just knew you as Corey's husband and good surfer, and then I asked my friends, you guys know this guy Nick? Oh, yeah, Nick rips. And then
those are nice guys. Yeah, I got to my own lunch then.
Yeah. But and then it was just you don't make it. You do a good job. That's your humility. Like you don't make it so like to be that growth minded. Like people say it. Michael Jordan's not like a fun person to be around unless you're training and you're trying to get better. But that's his whole thing, you know.
Yeah.
People are like he's not like pleasant.
You know that's funny because I was just talking to my wife about this, and so when you have a goal, it was a different time in my life when I was there. I'm a different person than I was before. I used to live, eat, breathe. Like if you weren't on my team, you were not. I hated you. Like this is before church. I knew who God was, but I didn't know him. I didn't follow him, and I would literally like I blew my knee out one time when I was with Corey, tore my MCL. And did I tell the story about how I was like, you're not supporting me? She's like, well, you're acting like a baby. And I was like, bro,
no, I don't think you.
I threw a hissy fit. Now I look back, I'm like, what a stupid idiot, you know?
Yeah.
But it was so much to where if you don't want to support me, you on my list, you on my blacklist.
Yeah.
And I would remember I might tell you, what's up, how you doing? But I remember you on my blacklist.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And so like I would paddle over you if we had our jerseys on.
Yeah.
But that's the mindset you got to have. So if you look at it, Kelly, Andy, all those guys had the mindset of I'm going to kill everybody no matter what. And they took it off Kobe, Jordan.
LeBron's cool with everyone.
So you gotta he's older, so he's like knowledgeable too, right? But in your 20s, you gotta imagine like Mike, I'm sure when you was trying out, like, and the guys had those shoes on, you know, you're like, oh man, let me just get a piece. Come here, you know what I mean? And you gotta have that level of selfishness to reach it. Now, as I get older, I try to not show. I have different goals, a lot different goals.
Yeah.
And so I don't.
But you didn't reveal that to me when you were younger. Like you were, maybe because we weren't close enough, and it was more just, hey, how's it? But
yeah,
you didn't. I didn't know you were so like growth minded and stuff.
I didn't really tell too much people about like people. I figure the less drama, the better. And I didn't really tell people like how it. Bro, I was, not to be weird, but I used to have dark thoughts. I was the kind of guy that would like think of ways like, I don't just want to hurt that guy, I want to torture him, kind of thing, in a way where
surfing, you mean?
Like, bro, I was so sick where I would think of, in surfing, and if somebody was mean to me or whatever, I'd be like, oh, I hope that guy gets like dragged by a car for 5 miles.
Yeah, you told me that before.
Like crazy stuff. And like I remember I would keep it in because I remember I told my sisters, and they're like, you need to go to therapy and whatnot. And I was like, whatever, you too, I hope you get anyway. So but I needed that small man syndrome, that like drive to help me to do stuff. So it was good.
You need some trauma.
Yeah.
We mentioned Kelly, and it's just kind of a bit of a diversion, but it's a fun convo. Who do you think the best athlete of all time is?
Oh, that's
of our generation since we were kids.
Athlete. So define athlete.
That's a good question.
So athlete,
because Kelly gotta be like if you know surfing, not everyone does, right? But it's Podcast Hawaii, so hopefully a lot of local people and know surfing.
Yeah.
Kelly's got to be up there on GOAT Island with Jordan, if that's your GOAT, and with Messi, if that's your goat, or like Kelly's.
So
nuts.
what? So you gotta define. My sister, I hope you're listening to this, Trisha. So my mom told her that she's the most athletic person in the family, and every get together, I tell her,
That's
"Oh
why
yeah,
you want to drag her behind the car."
yeah." Trisha, you know what? So we always have arguments. My sisters, when I grew up, I was so small, they were bigger than me up until I graduated high school.
Pick on you?
They wouldn't pick on me, but they were bigger and stronger than me for sure up until after high school.
Yeah.
And so she was bigger and stronger, and my mom said, "Yeah, she's." And I said, define athlete, because in my mind, athlete means you can do every single sport at a high level.
It's not a decathlon. Like what?
So what? So when I say when you say athlete,
You're talking about cross athletes, like.
or are you saying like in that their sport, they're the best?
That's a debate. Like my sisters are a high level bowler, but bowlers. The reason she said one of the reasons they're in the Olympics because like look at American bowlers, like they're not like athletes. It's not like how Tiger changed golf into like, people looking like an actual athlete.
Yeah.
And so I don't know. That's define athlete because when you say athlete, I think of leaping, running, agility, throwing something, catching something. That's what I really think of athleticism.
I say football guys got to be the most athletic guys.
Sure. So then Dion, Bo Jackson? Like who's the greatest
Bo
athlete?
Bo Jackson, hands down. Best athlete ever.
But you got to put in okay.
Surfing's different though.
But you got to put in achievement. So like some people say Bruce Irons, free surfing, better than Andy. Guys from Kauai, I've heard my friend who was raised in Hanalei, he's like, Bruce. No, everyone in Kauai knows Bruce, free surfing. I don't know if that's true, but just hypothetically, let's say guys on Kauai say that. I don't know. Guys in Kauai, leave a comment. Let me know. But no Nick Mita. But then Andy performed under the spotlight way better, right? Like he's, Kelly under the spotlight. And surfing's a subjective thing, but the results were that they did good in the contest. So the execution of the thing, because LeBron, you could argue is the better athlete than Jordan. Maybe you could make an argument, but Jordan's like 6-year run or 8-year run. It's the best execution ever. So then
I see what you mean.
Kelly,
it's got to be Kelly.
Reign and execution for athletes.
It's got to be Kelly. It's got to be. He's 50.
Well, what about
at the highest level of surfing?
Like
how old is Messi?
I don't know, but soccer fans are crazy, No, he's not age, but like.
No, but you got to think about it. The reason why I put age in it is he was from 18 to 50.
Well, see, Jordan, they'll say undefeated in the finals. Like Kelly's gone years without winning it, which I think is ridiculous. But
to intrude, but I have a question for you guys. Do you guys think Andy, if he wouldn't have passed, would have still been on that level of like longevity that Kelly had?
It's hard because part of what made Andy Irons great was his chaos and his recklessness.
Yeah.
Like the way he lived his life, the way he surfed. Like,
yes.
So it's hard.
And people don't know this, don't remember this, but Andy fell off tour. Nobody talks about it.
You know this? Oh, you've been going down the surfing rabbit hole. Really?
Oh, look, see, he got that thing
Oh,
that he was talking about.
He got that sickness.
He's just serve Roger Bannister with a tattoo on you, bro.
But yeah, his whole story is crazy. How because I watched the movie with Bruce and Andy, and then him versus Kelly, like the whole battle. Like that's so cool to me that they just went back and forth, back and forth.
Yeah, you need that to break. Like Kelly said, Andy brought out the best in me.
And like how Andy would just be like just a monster, just like he was gonna kill everybody.
He was a monster.
Down for North Shore, Kauai guys. It's a
different animal.
It's a different thing.
Yeah.
It's
don't look at their eyes.
Yeah.
Say hi. Shout out to all the guys in Kauai, my friends.
Out. Don't bring a camera to the beach.
Yeah,
guarantee
broken. But Andy Andy was one of my favorite surfers. But I tried to make the broken arm, and I think that he would he be relevant today? Yes, 100%.
If he could keep it all together, no doubt.
Well, this is what I think.
But that's you don't know because his chaotic life was like kind of like how jiu-jitsu. I know what kind of guy you are if I roll with you for one match. You watch Andy, like he was chaos, it's all in one package.
You know what's hard though? I feel like our brother-in-law Bryce, he told me something he told me something. He said, you know, when you have kids, your fire goes away a little bit. And this is for surfing. And that's why he said that for when BJ had kids. I think this is because we're huge BJ Penn fans, right?
Yeah.
And so when he started his downfall, it's kind of like right around when he started having kids. And so he said that like something, you live for a different thing before
you can't be that selfish because you're entirely selfish and you're reign to the top. Yeah. But once you have kids, so even if it's 2%, 98% selfish, there's some shift.
Yeah, exactly. That's one of the reasons why I stopped. I remember flying on. I was going to Australia for the Burley Pro, and I remember being on the plane, and Kanan was 6 months, and I gave him a kiss, and I was like, on the plane, what am I doing, bro? I'm getting paid to surf, but why? Like, why am I?
What's most important?
What's more important? And the reason why is because that was my second trip since he was born. And he was 6 months, and I went to Bali right after, and he grew so much, and I was like, oh my god. And then I went on this trip, and I was like, it was a 3-week trip, and 3 weeks back in the day, it felt like 3 years.
Yeah.
And so I was like, I'm done. And Bryce's what he told me made sense. And so going back to your question about Andy, he died right before Axel was born, and so. Would he have been the same is a hard question because maybe
just can't know.
He was chaotic.
And he was even on a sober streak at that point, right?
That's not how. I mean, I don't want to say how people can go figure out how he passed away, but he was chaotic. He wasn't scared of anything.
Yeah,
he wasn't scared of anybody or anything, and that's why he was the guy.
Guys go into on the court and respect Kobe and whatever. Guys go into heats and like, oh, it's Kelly. But Andy was like...
He was like Derek in history class to his teacher.
To my teacher, challenging the teacher.
Yeah. How he even just walks around. Like that little smile.
Oh, I can't believe you're... Like, Andy died when?
He died in 2009.
How old were you in 2000?
I don't know. Sorry.
I know that's what's so crazy that it's just because like watching all the new surfer guys and like okay whatever but then like when I started watching him surfing like he just tears it up, I'm like, oh my.
You gotta go watch you gotta go look at shout out to I don't know if you can put this on, but there's a magazine called Stat Mag.
So you gotta subscribe to like watch other.
Did you watch Andy and the Radicals?
No, I've only just like scoured YouTube for everything Andy.
We have to turn it on to all the end.
So you need to go look at that video. It's a 4-series video about Andy, how we know him.
Yeah.
It's like you'll be like, whoa, how come we don't have an Andy now?
Andy, that's my question. Why is there no
because
sponsors that are just rugged like that anymore?
Because now it's like hey, like Whole Foods and we gotta do this. Andy was like, bro, I'm going to McDonald's, drinking a beer and palling out from it.
There's different kind of money involved too now. So it's sophisticated and like, you know, I'll fight you and then we get hurt and that's $1 million. Like, no, I gotta sacrifice that or risk that. Or
that's true. That's true.
It's just different, you know.
That's true. And it's not as we don't. That's a good question. Why don't we have kind of like those guys? We do, but I feel like they go down it's hard for those guys who go down that path to make it because so much is against them. They don't have the money backing. They don't have the sponsors to back them up.
Yeah, and culture. Yeah, there's so much more money in just the game now. Like
it costs what? For me, I was only going to Japan. It cost me $15,000 to $20,000.
Like how many boards is like Zeke or Eli Hanneman?
I heard this guy's getting like a couple hundred. For me, I got 26 new boards a year.
So they have like they go through a board every half a week.
Their boards are pretty. Those guys are punting 10-foot airs and taking off at pipe.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like they'll break 5 boards a day.
Yeah, as soon as they found a lot of pressure things, like it's super light. And
so your boards were I'm assuming double 4 or double 6 or one though.
Yeah, like double 6.
Mine was single 4 top and bottom.
Yeah,
so you could literally like
squeeze it.
It'd be broken. Yeah. But going back to Andy, I feel like the chaoticness is what made him good. But who knows? Maybe having a kid would ground him, and he'd be able to bring out his best. Maybe, but maybe also having a kid might have been like, I don't need to be. I'm gonna sit off Kauai and hang out with my buddies and my family.
When Kobe died, Tracy McGrady came on and said that because Tracy was 1 year in front of him, I think, or maybe Kobe was 1 year in front of Tracy, but they were hang out and talk. And he was like, I'm going to be better than Jordan. I'm going to be the Will Smith of basketball and say all these things. And he also said, I'm going to die early, like Bruce Lee. And then they said that they pointed out how you're immortalized when you die young because we never get to see you grow old. And so Andy's like immortalized that way because you're not going to see an old Andy Irons.
That's a good point.
You're not going to see an old Kobe Bryant.
That's a good point.
And that's kind of heavy. It's kind of beautiful and magical, but heavy at the same time.
It's everything, yeah. That is
heavy and magical.
So, hey, back to the sports thing. Is a rock climber an athlete?
Yes.
Oh.
Okay.
A mountain climber, are they an athlete?
An athlete?
You're talking about muscle, exertion, strength.
Okay, is rock climbing a sport?
Yeah.
Okay. He's an athlete.
Is Alex Honnold not the GOAT of all athletes ever?
I don't know who that is.
You ever watch Free Solo? The guy who climbs with no rope?
Oh, that's great. I can't watch that.
You didn't watch it?
I'll get freaked out.
Right.
Well, you said that you was talking about accolades. How much? What's his at?
Oh, he's the GOAT. He's free solo, so no rope. Like crazy stuff. You got to look into Alex Honnold. And he was also born, there's science on it. He was born with a thing, like they put him in the MRI and they put people in and they like flash a spider or flash whatever. And there's like your amygdala lights up or something.
Wow.
He just doesn't. He just, not that he has no fear in a radical Andy Irons kind of way. He's just baseline, like mundane. Like that's what you want for your rock climber who's 1,000 feet in the air with no rope, right?
Yeah.
And here's the thing, when I like this GOAT of athletes conversation, because one, Kelly's got to be in it, but most people don't understand surfing enough to respect it. And Alex Honnold, if you lead with the question, is rock climbing a sport? If you say yes, and then now we're talking execution, one mistake, he's dead. And so his execution, even more than like surfing Jaws, like his execution is nuts.
It's perfect. He's still alive, right?
Perfection or death. That's it. And if you watch the videos, you'll be sweating and like tripping out just watching it.
I'm not sure Sage anything watch that.
Yeah. So he's got to be up there in Goat Island too. You gotta watch it.
Oh wow, that's crazy. Yeah, no, that's about. I don't know. Who is your GOAT?
Oh, just athletes.
Yeah.
I just like provoking, and like antagonists. So I like that putting Alex Honnold in there because execution, bro, it's perfection and death. And it's, you think about it too, like we get all sketched out and he made the point on Joe Rogan's podcast, we get all sketched out when we see him like 1,000 feet in the air, but he's like, after 10 minutes, it's death or perfect. Like once I'm up 50 feet, 80 feet, he's like, it's not different. And I'm like, yeah, easy for a guy like you to like understand that.
That's crazy.
But
wow.
Alex got to be up there. Kelly, you gotta consider Kelly on Goat Island for all athletes. And then the thing is like, I think it has to be a solo sport to really, to be, I don't even put Jordan in there. Jordan never won without Pippen. Jordan never won without Phil Jackson. And
that's a good point.
And I can make an educated conversation about why LeBron and Kobe need to be considered up with Jordan. But
why you said you don't think Jordan made all those guys on that team better?
Yeah, but do you think he wins without Pippen?
I think honestly,
he didn't.
I think honestly, whoever you throw with Jordan, I mean, they're already elite level athletes. You're not gonna throw mediocre guys.
Then why didn't he win without Pippen?
I don't know. I can't answer that. That's good.
And Phil Jackson, he wouldn't play. He's a quitter. He wouldn't play without Phil Jackson.
No. It's the morals.
He quit because Phil Jackson's not his coach.
It's the reason why
Phil
Jackson got fired.
Because he's a god. He's a god, so it's like, no, he's moral. But what if he played without Phil Jackson or not? Like, what if he knew that, like, Phil's a part of this? When you watch it on stats, he's like, no, I'm not going to play for a different coach. Like,
I love that movie. That's serious.
It's so good. But he wouldn't play without Phil Jackson.
I feel like that's like jiu-jitsu politics in basketball. Like
I know, I love it. It's fun conversation.
like it's morals. It's like, no, man, that's my coach. And no, we got to fire him because Because you don't like him?
What Phil Jackson could go to another team and Jordan could have followed him.
But there's something about team sports that you
especially if he's gonna make everyone else better, just go to the other team with Phil Jackson.
it's hard though.
Like win.
No, do you have a favorite sports team?
It's favorite sports team.
Do you have a favorite sports team?
You mean like to root for the jersey or like historically the best team?
At the first, when you see you know who my favorite sports team is.
Yeah.
Because those guys are, because when you have a favorite, so this is what I think. That this is going to be like, but you like this kind of conversations. When you have a favorite sports team, and whether those guys win or lose, and you still love them, and you still rough their stuff, and you still talk trash, and you still do it, and those are the actual guys who are grinders, and those are the actual guys who kind of succeed. And this is why.
Okay.
They don't make excuses. My team sucks. The Red Sox sucks this year. As long as they beat the Yankees, we're good, but probably not going to beat the Yankees. But the next year, watch out for it. Now, if I'm like, hey, look, I like the Yankees, but I also like the Giants. Shout out to my boy, King Kai. I hope you...
The onboarder.
Yes.
Yeah, what is the name?
King Kai Britlett.
Yeah. Kai, I hope you listening. He's a pretty big guy, too. But
yes, he's a great guy. I can remember him. Fell around him. I love him like a brother.
Yeah.
As the guy. But if you have all these favorite teams and, this team, I have 7 different hats with 7 different teams on there, and this guy won, that's not really the guys that, you know what I mean?
So what are you saying? Jordan's a winner, so he's loyal to Phil Jackson.
Jordan, there's more that goes into it when a team sport than an individual sport. You know what I mean?
But you can never, even like
Griffey. You know who King Griffey Jr. is?
Sure.
Wait, what team does he play for?
So, played for Mariners.
Okay.
Yeah.
Do you know he played for the Reds?
I know that he had a stop or two later.
So baseball, they move all over the place.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, yeah.
But if you,
I get a picture now.
So if you think about it, when you're at that level of an athlete, as Jordan was, and you have that bond with the city of Chicago, like he did, and his family's already there, you move to me. Kind of thing.
I just think the lure of Jordan is right.
It's different. It's different than an individual sport. Team sport is different.
Okay, so back to being born with it's not the same thing, but being born with certain skills.
Yeah.
Like Kobe, everyone, the allure of Kobe, one franchise, they don't do it like that anymore. LeBron, he was drafted and he's traded to the Lakers. Like, if you have one team to stay with forever, it's the Lakers. People want to come play for the Lakers, like the Red Sox, the Yankees. And baseball is a little different sport.
It is. Yeah.
But
similar, though.
But what if you're like Damian Lillard with the Portland Trailblazers, or you're like at Oklahoma City Thunder? Like, he went to the Lakers. Jordan was with the Bulls, big market. Would Jordan have been a one-city team if he was drafted to the New Orleans Pelicans?
So the way
I understand marketing at a high level.
Yeah,
I think I want to give myself that because I've done well with marketing and business.
Yeah,
you know marketing well because you've been sponsored and you've seen these different brands.
That's what I was. I was a marketing tool.
You're a marketing guy, right? The marketing behind the timing of Jordan, like where were the image of the African Americans in America and the way it was shifting and what Jordan represented and Nike being built and technology being where it was and live stream, like so many things came together to help this no one could say anything about Jordan lure, he's a god, and marketing's a huge part of that.
So your original question was, we went on a tangent.
Well, it was because you can't. I won't put team sports guys in this convo. I think Kelly and Alex Arnold.
Because you said, could Jordan do it if he went somewhere else?
Without Pippen and Phil Jackson. So people blame LeBron for jumping teams, and I'm like, bro, he was a horrible owner in Cleveland, and then he went back and won with Chip. So it's not the same recipe as Kobe and Jordan. He's in a shit market.
No, I think he would have. I think he would have still enjoyed it.
So Jordan would have just stayed with the Cleveland Cavaliers for
no.
What, 6 championships?
No. I mean, I think with LeBron, yeah. I mean, we don't know. we don't see what else is behind the curtain, right? There's a lot of stuff that goes behind the curtain that nobody sees.
Yeah.
And so we don't know. But with Jordan, if he's going to be a GOAT without those guys, yeah. When you have that mentality.
No, yes. He amazing, one of the best ever for sure. But
would he win those championships? Yes.
Without Pippen and Phil Jackson?
Yes.
Well,
when you have a guy like that, they'll figure out a way.
Why didn't you get out of the way the other year?
Let me ask you a question.
Why didn't you figure out a way the other year?
If I was in real estate, do you think I would be successful?
To some level, yeah.
Okay. If you were in insurance, do you think you'd be successful? And you enjoyed it?
Yeah. If I enjoyed it and got a little hint of success.
Because your key is you got to agree with what the process is, right?
Yeah.
The end result.
Yeah.
So if you and I can be better in different industries, no matter what, we don't know what our surroundings are. Jordan is way more sick than us. He don't got no friends because he's that crazy.
Yeah, I mean, they said when he played for the White Sox, he was improving at a level that was astounding.
Yep. Frankly, he was amazing.
Yeah, he was just, and then when he played at North Carolina, he was like, the coach was like, I've never seen anyone improve so fast, like weeks at a time. It was like, wow, gains, right? Agreed with all of it, but basketball is a team sport. And he didn't win the year he came back from baseball. Jordan will find a way. Oh, except for that year. Well, Jordan will find a way. What about the year before he won his first championship? Well, not that year. That one don't count.
Nah, Jordan will find a way.
Why didn't he then?
Sir Roger Bannister broke the 4-minute thing. You don't think he could have done it?
Why didn't Jordan? What year did Jordan win his first chip? 92? 92, 93, 93.
Mine wasn't even born yet.
Why didn't he find a way in 91 then? Or like if it was 91, why didn't he find a way in 90?
Because he was 18 years old when he made the, not the tour, but he made the big show, you know, when he was on the, I don't know what you call the NBA. When he made the NBA.
Giannis won.
We could always, you could say, why, but he did.
He did in the terms that you're focusing on.
His style.
Wednesday, what like everyone wants to use to call him the GOAT, which I think in the end he probably still is the GOAT. But I don't just like give it like carte blanche, like everything turns to water.
I don't want it to water. I love what right here, let it. No. The sky is not blue, brother. The sky is like turquoise. You don't see that white cloud over there?
I
love it.
I like arguing, and then we could both agree that we can agree on the outcome of something, but doesn't mean everything around it, right? Like, I can agree the weather's good, but that doesn't mean the sky is great, you know.
But that's a good. I think it's good that you can agree to disagree, and you still be friends with things.
And I agree to agree. Like he's probably, but there's an educated conversation for why LeBron's the GOAT too.
Why?
I mean, there's many, like Jordan never did it with a new coach. Jordan didn't do it for as long as good. Because that's part of what makes Kelly the best, as long as good. Because what if there was a guy that won 1 year in surfing, but never lost one contest, won every single contest, perfect year, but only won 1 year? Is he automatically better than Kelly?
Wow, that's a good. You just love throwing oil, gas straight in the fire.
Is he the better than Kelly? But Kelly's like the LeBron of surfing. He's been on top.
I say no. You know why?
So Jordan in a condensed period.
So in my opinion, goats can't have it unicorns and rainbows. There has to be bumps in the road.
Yeah. So another thing, Jordan. So do you think Jordan would have won the years that he played baseball?
He can't do both.
No. If he stayed and didn't take the break, do you think he would have won? People say it would have been 8 straight.
No.
Yeah, well, he said that in the last stats. He's like, we wouldn't have. He's like, we were exhausted.
They were meant
to keep doing it.
It's like I said before, you don't realize what people do outside of what people do.
Yeah.
Outside of what you see. Like, they don't realize that. Like, how many books you read. I'm sure, I don't know if Mike went to school for cameras, but I'm sure he knows what every single button and thing over there.
Yes.
But that took time, and that took a lot of things outside of what the things, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And like, they don't realize all of this. And we don't even realize. Nobody does except for somebody close to Jordan. They know what
the sacrifice, right?
Bro, that's a lot. That's why in surfing, usually you don't go back to back. It's pretty rare.
Even in basketball, almost no franchise have a back-to-back, and three-peat is what, only 2, right?
Yeah.
So
Or in the UFC, right? It's hard to go back to back because
keep your belt. Yeah.
they always say that about GSP. He's waking up in silk sheets. How does he keep that,
Or Connor. I think.
Yeah. Connor has a...
Yeah, like Connor.
But I like the drive. I love the drive. When I watch his Netflix thing, I was like, wow.
So what if, essentially, in my mind, Jordan lost those 2 years? Well, one, he did.
Yeah.
And then the other year, he didn't show up, so you lost. But people say he's undefeated. No.
No, he's not undefeated.
In finals, he's undefeated, right? He never went to a final and didn't win. So but you also didn't even show up for 1 year.
But you didn't make the final. So it's kind of like, what's funny is...
But people ridicule LeBron for getting to the final with... Can you name who was on the Cleveland Cavaliers those years? Like, his first time?
There you go.
Verjao, Mo Williams.
I don't know who those guys are.
Exactly. You don't know anyone on those, but it's just... And LeBron was, like, early 20s.
Exactly. So what does it take for a team sport to win? 1 guy or 5 guys?
5 guys.
5 guys.
And Jordan never won without Pippen.
Can you name 5 Bulls? You can.
5, well, yeah. Kukoc, Kerr, Paxton, Pippen for sure.
Grant.
Horace Grant.
Right.
Can you name? Was a tall center? There's Luke Longley. Was he one of the? Bill Cartwright. But you know those guys because of Jordan, largely, except for Pippen.
So now
Kerr, though, Kerr stands alone. Kukoc is a solid player. Horace Grant.
So let's go. Let's do this then.
Well, Bill Cartwright because of Jordan.
So we're gonna talk about the GOATs. So we're gonna go. Let's go backwards.
Okay.
GOAT would be the best person of all time, the greatest player of all time. What does it take for a team to get to that level? Great teammates, right?
Yeah.
Those guys rising to the next level. Okay. Now, all those guys, right? You can name probably 10 guys on the Bulls that Jordan played with.
Sure.
Can you name 10 Cavaliers? No. So Jordan, when he showed up, knew that he had to...
So yeah, look over
status, and he elevated everybody. And he didn't do it in a way like delegating them. He showed them, this is the level. You need to be here. And follow me. I'll show you guys how to do this. Let's do this. Let's go. And he elevated everybody. They all said it. He wasn't my best friend. I didn't like him at the time, but he brought out the best in me. And he elevated everybody's level. So they're so famous that a guy from Campbell and a guy from Kyle McKee doing exactly like these guys are, right? And you got to think about that. I feel like if you can do that, you're the GOAT. If you can elevate in a team sport the people around, now in a solo sport, it's different, right?
I wanted him to, if he kept playing, if he played those 2 years and showed up and we saw the result, and if he kept playing afterwards for a little longer, it would be a more definitive conversation for me. It's less definitive because...
How many years isn't that? How many did it win? 3, 4?
3, and then I think last 2.
Up until that point, did anybody win 2?
Yeah, Lakers and Celtics, I'm sure, back.
And nobody won 3.
I don't think there was a 3-peat until then.
Yeah, well, we all need rest a little bit.
Yeah.
And he didn't rest. He went and try to play Major League Baseball.
Yeah, but it's a rest from the thing.
I don't know. Rest is
a guy like that wasn't going to sit on the beach.
A guy what?
A guy like that doesn't go sit on the beach in Mexico and drink Mai Tais.
My thinking of rest is not waking up every day at 4 o'clock in the morning to go do something else to try to rest. For me is like sipping Mai Tais at Aulani with my family in the pool.
He doesn't do that. A guy like that doesn't do that.
That's that. He's over there and I'm over here.
Yeah, well, even leave us a comment on who you guys think was a GOAT of basketball and who's a GOAT, of all the sports. I don't know hockey. I don't know baseball. At that level, I knew baseball. I played baseball.
I think Bo Jackson is the best. I think if you're going to talk about the best athletic specimen, it's Bo Jackson.
Specimen, Bo Jackson, right? 100%. You got to put Dion, top Mount Rushmore.
Bo Jackson, like every sport. Put him in.
No, but after Bo, Dion got to be on there, right?
They was there, but he's got to be out there.
Yeah.
Who plays that NFL and Major League Baseball at the same time? That's different. Fibers.
Torres hit it because he runs so hard.
He got up and he put it back in and he walked to the side and he was like, hey guys, I think my hip came out. And they're like, you wouldn't be standing here. And they were like, Cobra, it came out.
And they say he's just like a stoic guy. Like he just goes fishing, archery, lives in the country in like Alabama or Mississippi or something. Yeah.
The only thing I don't like about Bo is he talks about like, you don't want practice? Come on.
Because he's born different. Some people are born different.
He's the unicorn. That's a true unicorn.
Some people are born different though, right?
Yeah. That's just, a lot of us ain't like that though.
Correct.
99.9.
Yeah. Yeah. 5 hours later, I found a crack.
You did find a crack. God find it. Yeah. One guy. But he still made it to the show, so.
Yeah. Yeah. We're both specimen, Bo Jackson. Lawrence Taylor, you got to put in, like, you were just in the conversation. He said he used to like do like cocaine and have prostitutes in his room, not sleep, go to the football game. And he's like, arguably greatest.
That is
linebacker.
So crazy. That's so crazy. That's so, and we wonder why our sport is better. Now, like, no athletes are doing that, right? It's crazy. We're watching our diet, we're training right. And
yeah.
But then again, like, yeah, dude, that was like Mike said, is a lot more excited to watch Andy fight Mick Campbell. You know about that? Fight Mick Campbell in the shower. There's no fights on the beach. They got into a full fist fight. Or I had to like hit his board. Maybe you can look that up. Mick Campbell.
What do you like, triangle them or something?
No, I don't know what they did, but Mick was, I think, a boxer. He's an Australian guy.
Oh.
They had some sort of whatever disagreement.
Yeah.
And like they went in the shower. I remember watching the video and I was like, whoa, like they're throwing hands. And I think Mick caught him a couple times, but Andy whacked with the side of his board.
Yeah.
Like the edge of his board. And I was like, well, they both got cracks.
Yeah.
Cracks too.
Yeah, Australians.
I bet, and there's probably so much stories that we don't even know about too.
God.
Yeah.
Yeah, God. All right, bro. We have to do it again someday.
Yeah, sorry.
Thanks for coming. Good fun talking with Nick. Again, the shout outs, if you made it this long, wow, tell me who you are. Thank you for supporting. And shout outs to Maui. Donate to the Council for Native Hawaiian Affairs, Kakoa Maui Fund. They're matching up to $1 million, so double your dollar. And then if, big business owners, Nick Mita is not only a good surfer, but he's a good insurance guy. So hit him up, for those big insurance accounts.
Yeah, if anybody has, especially the Maui guys, if you have questions on insurance, feel free to hit me up. You can email me, Nick M, NICKM at IIRHI.com. I don't gotta be your agent. And in Hawaii, we grew up, and you help each other out, and it's not about the money. I'm what you love to help you out, try to help you. So I don't need to be your agent. If you have questions, just email me.
Awesome. Right on. I guess Hawaii.